So I consider myself a liberal progressive. I call myself a progressive because I believe in the ideas of social justice, that everybody should really be treated equal in terms of their humanity. You know, everyone is a human. It's just a form of humanism. You don't want to be treated with disrespect based on who you are, and I don't want other people to be treated with disrespect based on who they are. Now, where that gets into the question of how laws are designed and how society is structured in order to achieve that kind of social justice, that's an open discussion and an open question. And that would be the ideal discussion for people to be having. So let's have a look at the definition of social justice. Social justice is justice in terms of the distribution of wealth, opportunities, and privileges within a society. Classically, justice, especially corrective justice or distributive, I can't fucking talk, justice, referred to ensuring that individuals both fulfilled their societal roles and received what was due from society. So, for example, I think of it in terms of an entitlement. An entitlement is something you are entitled to, because you paid into it, so you're supposed to get it back. You pay into society, you pay taxes, you're supposed to get things back from society. That's why it's an entitlement. People use entitlement negatively to say, that person thinks they're entitled to receive things, but in some cases people are literally totally entitled to things, and that's where social justice falls in. I think it's an entitlement. So social justice is something that you are entitled to being a member of society. You should receive similar rights to other people and not be punished based on your identity. Now, there might have to be a few extra considerations, like, for example, that women can have babies and men can't have babies, but that doesn't mean, in the area of men's rights, that men should have no rights at all. It's not an either-or situation. So that's social justice. That's a very positive thing, and as a progressive, I've always been for it. But where this shit gets tricky is with the next label. This is social justice warrior. So, Urban Dictionary. A pejorative term for an individual who repeatedly and vehemently engages in arguments on social justice on the internet, often in a shallow or not well thought out way, for the purpose of raising their own personal reputation. A social justice warrior, or SJW, does not necessarily strongly believe all that they say, or even care about the groups they are fighting on behalf of. They typically repeat points from whoever is the most popular blogger or commentator of the moment, hoping that they will get SJ points. Who do these points come from? I guess there's some, like, magic bean machine that just shoots points at you. Maybe it's like Super Mario or something. Become popular in return. They are very sure to adopt stances that are correct in their social circle. I mean, and already I think, like, this definition is quite contradictory, because they're sure to adopt stances that are correct in their social circle. Who is not going to adopt stances that are correct in their social circle? Atheists are going to do it with their circle, and, like, people on the internet are going to do it with other people in their little internet circle, and you're going to do it with your friends, and sometimes you're going to want to, like, speak out, but you won't feel like you can't speak out because, you know, it doesn't fit with the social circle. So I don't think that's particular to social justice warriors. The SJW's favourite activity of all is to dogpile. Their favourite websites to frequent are LiveJournal, isn't that defunct? Is it still going? And Tumblr, which I've never really been on, but I've heard bad things about. They do not have relevant favourite real-world places, because SJWs are primarily civil rights activists only online. In the internet age, social justice, in my opinion, has merged with this other term, keyboard warrior. What's a keyboard warrior? So, with the advent of the internet and people being able to have conversations and talk back and forth to each other, people came to be called keyboard warriors. A keyboard warrior is just someone like, all bluster, like, I'm gonna fuck you up, I know better than you about everything on the internet, you are a dumb person. And then the other guy will be like, oh yeah, I got a degree in this, and you are wrong. And then the other person will be like, fuck you, I'm gonna end your life, even though you live in China, or whatever. And keyboard warriors, just people who are all bluster and just fight about everything. Now, I personally don't see the point in trying to, like, intimidate other people on the internet. I think it doesn't make any fucking sense at all. But I'm definitely a keyboard warrior. I get on there and I have my little screed, but literally everyone does. If anyone tries to give you shit about being a keyboard warrior, just know that they are also a keyboard warrior. So, I mean, that's just hypocrisy. Everybody is a keyboard warrior on the internet, you know. I guess some people are just there to have fun, and I kind of respect those people. Those are good people. Social justice went into the digital age, got involved with the internet, and then all the people who used to be out there protesting, and those were the other avenues that they used to use, and I guess they still do sometimes, but it turned into like hacktivism and hashtagtivism and other things online and arguing with people. And then eventually people thought that's just like a keyboard warrior, but now they're talking about social justice. So let's take the little thing off the end of keyboard warrior, take social justice, just stick it on the end there, social justice warrior. And I think it's very pejorative. And the weird thing about social justice warrior is it only applies to people who fight for social justice. What about people who fight for other things? What about people who are like fighting for men's rights? They're not like men's rights warriors. But social justice has a special consideration as being something that's particularly stupid to fight for on the internet. Whereas it's better to fight for men's fucking custody rights and, you know, saying that we should be able to call women sluts and shit like this, and saying it's okay to call people fatties. Like, that's real important. That's not like fat justice warriors. No, social justice warrior is the one that gets the derogatory term because apparently they are such bad people. But whatever. Now, I first came into contact with this term when I was on a forum somewhere. I'm always like debating people about things, and I was just talking about some social justice related thing, and the comeback was, typical social justice warrior. Always fighting for this BS, and you're just online like some kind of loser. So are you, but okay. And I'd never heard that phrase before, and I looked it up and I was like, holy shit, am I a social justice warrior? Is this what social justice people do? We just go online and we just bluster like literally everybody else does. And I definitely decided I didn't like being called that. That's not a... I'm just a person that's for social justice. I'm not a warrior of any kind. In fact, I'm a very weak man. If you want to get in a fight with me, you'll win. Go right ahead. If you want to arm wrestle, I'll fucking lose. And I'm fine with that. I'm good with losing. And, whatever. The main problem with most people is they're not willing to admit they're losers. But, yeah, I'm a fucking loser. In terms of arm wrestling and shit. I'm not a warrior. I can't kill someone. You know? I don't really want to kill anybody. I don't want anyone to kill me, but hopefully you feel the same too, because you're a smart person. But then when I was talking to my friend later, he let me know that some people like being called social justice warriors, and they have embraced this term. And I was like, what the fuck? Why would you embrace a term that was completely derogatory? So another phrase that I've talked about previously was regressive, which is extremely insulting. If you call someone a regressive, there's no way that there's a positive spin on that. Some people have tried to tell me, no, that's just like the accurate way to describe the way those people are. No, it's just a fucking insult. I think that you should always just see what the person wants to be called and then go by that. So if a person wants to be called a progressive instead of a social justice warrior, wants to be called a progressive instead of a regressive, call them a progressive, and if their behavior is real bad, eventually the word progressive will be associated with something negative. But you don't have to just use a negative term to describe how somebody is. I think you should go by their own sense of identity. That's just kind of good manners, you know? But I couldn't believe people were actually using this term. I feel like that would be me calling myself, instead of an atheist, I'd call myself a cuntiest, and say, all of the cuntiests, let's get together and let's be cuntists. That's not a good image. I don't think that would work too well for your movement. Let's be the cuntists. No, you want to be called atheists? Okay. Now the actions that you portray as an atheist are going to have some kind of repercussions in terms of how we view atheism. And that's perfectly fair. That's what's supposed to happen. Terms change their meaning over time. Republican 200 years ago was a very different proposition than a Republican today, and a progressive in the idea of a Woodrow Wilson progressive back in America in like the 1930s or 20s, I forgot when he was, somewhere around there, is different than a progressive today. And social justice warrior is just a pejorative that you use for people that you don't like discussing things with and you don't like talking to. Now, there are certain tactics that have become associated with social justice warriors, which are tactics that they also used in the past. For example, letter writing campaigns. And I think these are a bad idea. There was a YouTuber called Laughing Witch who wrote a letter to another YouTuber called Thunderfoot in which she tried to get him fired. And I'm not for that. That's a terrible idea. here on YouTube, we're just having discussions and we're kind of doing our thing, you know? And that's all good, that's awesome. But you shouldn't send shit to somebody's employer. Don't be like that. That's just, even if he's a total dickface, you know? Is he doing his science job well, or is he doing it poorly? That's the only thing that should be relevant. If his douchebaggery on YouTube is affecting his job performance, then yes, he should be fired. But I don't see what him being a douchebag to feminists has to do with his science, so I was completely against that. But then his reaction was to basically stick all of his followers onto her business and then try to get all of the people on her business fired. Get all the workers in her business fired. So that was another horrible reaction. So it's just a case where everyone is a fucking cunt. But only one of them, Laughing Witch, gets called the social justice warrior. He doesn't get called that anti-feminist warrior who's trying to destroy feminism. I think keep it online, keep it away from employers. Don't do all this fucking shaming shit, like these shaming campaigns. Somebody called someone a slut, or somebody called someone a whore, so let's destroy their life. That's the kind of thing that's kind of ruining social justice. Let's just say we don't want you to speak like that, and that's it. It's just we don't want you to, and we just express that we don't want you to, and that's just normal. That's just being a fucking human. If you're like, hey man, Tim, could you stop swearing so much in your videos? I'd say, fuck yeah, stop swearing. Because I want to be polite to you. I want to be a good person that's going to stop fucking swearing. Or I could say, fuck no, I'm not going to fucking stop swearing. You're going to try to make me stop swearing, you cunt. And they'll say, no, that's okay, it's just a recommendation. I'll be like, recommendation! You're holding me down and you're censoring me! Everyone, all of this is overblown. Everyone just chill out. Calm down. The world is not going to end. People, stop acting, please, like how they think social justice warriors act, because it's giving them fuel for the fire. And on the other side, stop flinging that at everybody, because social justice is good. It's a good thing, but social justice warrior is a shitty term. Obviously, that's why it was created. Once again, it's just a matter of everyone needs to chill the fuck out, have a beer, relax, and then life is just gonna work itself out.